Hey everybody, Big Toad here, and welcome back to my studio. In this video, this is volume 2 of painting that 6 foot by 3 foot Idaho Butte with foothills in front of it. And today I'm going to focus on the sky, do a little sky work and get some sky in. I'm going to put it in a two-tone color, and we'll be using a very light blue based on cobalt blue, some titanium white, and the yellow I'm using, which is the Naples Yellow. And then I'm also going to put intermixed with that, I'm going to have Naples Yellow with some titanium white. And so we're going to get a little two-tone broken color type effect to start out. Now, as I go through the painting, I'm going to be using other colors. I'm going to try to incorporate into the sky many of the colors that I use throughout the painting. But I'll probably wait closer to the end of the painting to judge that and see how much emphasis I need to bring to the sky, because I don't want it to be I don't want it to be a dull sky. So I'm going to create some movement and activity up there. But this is an impressionist type painting, which is the style I like to do. I'm not trying to replicate nature. I just in my heart, I just feel like, you can never paint as good as nature looks. So create something, for me, create something that is impressionistic of that, and make it its own beautiful thing in its own way. But I am capturing the silhouette of this butte, and I will post in this video the name of this butte in its new Indian name, which is a cool name. Still don't know how to pronounce it yet, so I won't give it another try. Maybe in one of my videos I will get that hammered out so I can actually pronounce it as it should be. But the English translation of the name is People of the Willows Standing in a Row, Butte. I'm going to use a palette knife to put in the sky. I like the way that looks for the sky, and it's going to give me the broken color effect that I'm after. I'll probably keep it as a palette knife painting in the sky area, though I'll use a brush in most of the other parts of the painting. As palette knife work, using those knives for the sky, and I want to create a nice effect there. Again, not trying to duplicate reality as much as an impressionistic view of it, with some yellows in the sky, some blues. And I'm going to make it a little darker as I move to the left into the painting. I'm going to make that into the painting in the sky a little darker. That, though, will hardly be evident in the video. And I know it's really hard in this video to probably see the differing colors, but I will show you a photo of that, what it looks like, and do an up close video of that coming up, where I show you the sky and how it turned out. Maybe I'll try to put that in the end of this one. Now I'll zoom in this video so you can get an idea of what I'm working on in detail. It's still, the lighting is just not, from the angle of the camera, is just not really conducive to really good color. But like I said, I will get close up and show you the end result, which you can see. But at least in this way, you can see the technique I'm using, loading up the brush loading up the palette knife pretty heavy, and taking that up, trying to get my strokes to go in multiple directions. I don't want them all coming. It's natural to come upper right down to lower left with every stroke, just like that. And so I use a lot of that, but I also try to come in and bring in strokes in random directions as well, just to keep the sky from looking like a uniform pattern. I want it to be a broken pattern to get all the emphasis out of the colors. So you can barely see the blues and the yellows in that. But again, the point is to be subtle in this. So that's what I'm trying to get, is a subtle sky effect at this point. Here's a slightly different angle, and you can begin to see how I'm putting those colors on with a knife, using fairly wide and big strokes at this point. I'm going to come back in later as my thinking and go with some smaller, more delicate knife strokes when I start adding the other colors from the painting in. Now, to get some of these photos I'm going to be using as reference materials, I took a pretty scenic drive from my home all the way to my final spot where I took pictures of the butte. It was only about a 25-minute drive, and this right here where I'm at is really only about 10 minutes from my house. And coming up here on the right, you'll see a sign that has a deer on it for a deer crossing. It's not unusual to see deer out this direction, and within a few minutes of my house, I've seen small herds of deer. So here's another road sign, a tractor. I guess we have wild tractors in Idaho that cross the road randomly. I don't know. I've never seen a herd of tractors, wild tractors running loose. But anyway, up here on the right, I'll be turning on to a dirt road to take me out for a better view of the mountain. There's a small stream up here with a bridge over it. I'm going to stop on that bridge, and if you listen carefully, you'll hear two distinct sounds. One will be a ringed-necked pheasant, which will squawk. That's a male. And the second will be actually a gobbler tom. Both of them males. It's in the mating season, and they're attracting the females. So here, I'll turn the volume up on the road, and maybe you can hear it when I pull over on the bridge here. I really wanted to stop here because I thought it might be some nice pictures to take for paintings. So listen close here, and I'll try to signal when the sounds are coming. So I'm going to go quiet for a minute. And there they are, the rooster and the gobbler. Now, if you would have listened closely, you might have heard that right after the gobbler, he gobbled, you can hear the rooster call out again. And also at the beginning of that clip where I turned the volume up, while I was looking out the right-hand side of the vehicle, I heard the rooster squawk, which you probably could have heard in the video. And I turned back to the left in hopes of maybe catching one of them in the camera, but never did. Nevertheless, you got to hear an Idaho rooster and an Idaho gobbler down by the creek. There's a lot of great vegetation and obviously water down there for them to roost, and eventually, after the mating season, the females will lay their eggs down in that along that water's edge. One of the reasons I wanted to show you this video of my drive is just so you can see the rolling hills that are all throughout this area of Idaho, and the foothills that come up to the bottom of the mountain I'm going to be painting. You can see out there an old I don't know, an old house, maybe an old barn. Looks like an old house, and there is some beehives, some cool trees. I like to do gnarly trees because I see gnarly trees everywhere. So you'll see in some of my paintings some really gnarly trees. Let's go ahead and zoom this into fast forward so you can see the progress I make. And maybe from this angle you can see a little better the colors I'm putting in there with the yellowish hues to it, which is why it looks a little beige there. That's actually a little bit of yellow. That's kind of deadened out because of the yellow ochre. Now you can see the blues, the subtle blues in there. And as I work the palette knife to put in these colors, and being careful around the upper edge of the mountain, the contour of the mountain is critical because this is a well-known mountain, and I'm trying to capture that silhouette. That's the one thing I don't want to lose. And here's another angle, and you can start to see a little better the really subtle blue and the subtle yellow that's going into the sky. As I said before, I will come back in with other colors and do some styling of the sky, but I want to see how I want to contour that sky so that it emphasizes the foreground I'm putting in, and I want to create probably some lines and some character up in that sky, but I want to lay this nice pretty base down with a palette knife to get that broken color effect in the sky for now. I do switch to a smaller palette knife along the edges of the mountain. I want to keep that ridge line as pristine as possible. So the smaller palette knife helps me with that. I sped up this here little drive through the mountains, but just look at the big hills and the sagebrush and the big open sky and the dirt road, and there's so much beauty out here that's different than what a lot of people think of. And that's what I try to capture in my paintings. A lot of people do the great alpine paintings and alpine lakes, and I do some of that, but I really like to capture this high mountain desert type landscape with sagebrush and big rolling hills and with the mountains in the background. And I just think it's beautiful and it's different, and I think more people need to recognize the beauty of it and maybe see it in some of my paintings. So putting this sky in took me about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. Uh, I I used a lot of white paint in this painting so far. That sky, by the time I was done with the sky, used at least a quarter, if not a third, of a tube of 200 milliliter tube of white paint. It was a lot of white paint, a lot of titanium white. But here you can really start to see, because I'm going a little darker. Like I said, on this left end of the painting, I want the sky to be a little darker so you can start to see the blue standing out in the yellows. I'm not trying to capture just a brilliant blue sky. I wanted to bring the yellows in and make it a little hazy or a little cloudy, and so that yellow in there gives the illusion of some bankings of clouds, and with some little blue from the sky creeping through here and there. And that's going to go well as I pull the rest of the painting together. I don't want the sky to just be so brilliantly blue that it sucks the viewer to it. I want the eye to travel up that way and kind of relax in the sky as you look around at the detail. And as longer you look in this overall painting, the more things are going to begin to pop out. It's a large painting, so I have to create a lot of interest throughout the painting. The trick will be controlling that interest so it draws the viewer through the painting. Well, that brings us to the end of the sky. Now, in my next video, I'm going to work on that mountain a little more. I'm going to use a nice big brush and put some contour, some shape. I'm going to try to dull it down a little bit. I want to keep the chroma, or the brightness of the colors, dulled out in the sky and in the mountain itself. And as I move from the background, sky, mountain, into the midground, hills, I'm going to bring the chroma up a little bit at that stage, and then I want to have my brightest colors, my highest chroma, in the foreground itself, and that'll help create the illusion of depth. So that's going to be my next video. So I'm glad you joined me today. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. And until next time, this is the Big Toad, and I am out.